Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel. Also the Astrology of Karma and Evolution YouTube channel, which is now up, and I do have some older videos in there regarding spiritual awakening and awareness. But today we're going to be focusing essentially on the outlook for America in 2025. I haven't decided on a title yet for this particular video, but that's what I'm going to be covering here. What I have put on the screen in front of me is a chart for the United States, okay, located in Washington, D.C., January the 1st, 2025 at 12 a.m. And this particular chart is an overview of the energies that are going to be manifesting throughout the year 2025 as it relates to America, okay? So this particular chart gives us an idea of what we can expect in terms of how it's going to feel, what possible issues could be going on at that particular time. It's kind of a comfort zone, in a way, chart to be giving you, so that you can find some sense of, okay, things don't look good right now. There is a slim amount of hope that maybe something will be discovered that wasn't known when the election was had. But I'm sure that all of you are feeling the anxiety of the situation regarding Trump and his picks. It's quite a clown show, needless to say. And we should be concerned, but not overly alarmed at what's going on. We are living in a time where the universe is kind of pulling out the stops, and it is going to be schooling us into the proper understanding of the purpose of life and also of our values. And I can get into more of this over on the other channel than right here. I made these two channels, essentially, I split them up in a way, so I could talk more personally in the other channel about the process of awakening, the process of what you already have experienced, what you will experience, to the degree to which I have experienced in my awakening process, the things that I've been taught. So again, if you haven't gone over to subscribe to that channel and you are very involved in your own awakening process and you want to know what's happening to you, I would recommend that you go over to that channel and watch some of the videos. And by the way, the video that I've been promising the last couple of weeks, I am going to try to get that in, hopefully within the next week. It's been a challenging 2 weeks. I think many of you know that my brother, the one who was 2 years younger than I, passed away on the 15th. So there's been a lot of the grieving process going on and a lot of family dynamics going on. And along with the situation that's beginning to build with Trump and his new establishment, plenty of anxiety, I'm sure, for us, my family, and also for you as well. And by the way, for those of you that have expressed condolences in the community section of the channel, it's really appreciated. Anytime you let me know the impact of this channel upon you, and if it has benefited you, means the world to me. Okay? It is a way of saying to me, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for doing that. It's really helpful to me. It's been a difficult several weeks in regards to the astrology, and I'm still not quite through the bubble, so to speak. I finally, yesterday, late last night, got a little bit of a whisper to do this particular video, but I'm still in a way on a holding pattern. This seems to happen every year around Halloween, Thanksgiving, on through the first of the year. It's a way that the universe lets me, I think, in some ways rest from all of the energy of all the videos that are done through the year and how that impacts me and how, other things in life get entered in. But it is appreciated. You are appreciated. Your caring, your sharing are something that we, my partner CJ and I, value extremely much. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart. Again, theoretically, you're talking about the birth of the year 2025 as it relates to Washington, D.C., which is the primary focus of what will affect the country. Okay? And you'll notice over here, there is somewhat of a surprise here, but there's other factors in this particular chart that are not really a surprise at all. The big surprise to me was that Saturn is sextiling the Sun. Now, in this type of a chart, okay, the Sun would represent the establishment, the government, particularly maybe the President of the United States. All right? It would represent anybody who is, in a sense, famous. Okay? Somebody who has reached a high level of position and power and is influential. All right? That's what this is talking about. Saturn is sextiling that Sun. Now, what this simply means is, with Saturn, because you're talking about form and structure, organizations, this would include the government, this would include all industries, this would include business, all right? This is fortunate in the sense that there seems to be a willingness and an openness to working together, okay? Now, that may surprise you because I'm sure a lot of you that are out there watching this video or other videos are thinking that, oh my goodness, the end of the world, the apocalypse is here. Donald Trump's going to go into office and the whole world is going to fall apart. Okay? Well, not according to this. It seems like there will be more cooperation by those structures that are represented by Saturn. Okay? With those positions and people in positions of power. But it will not be simple and it will not be easy, okay? Because there is this state of mind right now that's growing within the Democratic Party that they want to find all kinds of ways to fight Trump any way they can, all right? So we'll see how this situation plays it out over the next year. Now, the area that is really no surprise to me, and it shouldn't be any surprise to you, has to do with the moon. The moon in this chart represents the public, okay? It's in the 4th house, which generally represents the home, okay? The American home, the person at the level, not of the high positions of fame and power and stuff, but the everyday person who is working, keeping a job, providing for a family, okay? It's severely afflicted. You can see here that Mars is opposing the moon. You can see down here that Pluto is conjuncting the moon, okay? This is an aspect of anger, okay? It's an aggressive type of energy, all right? Pluto, of course, represents transformation, okay, or empowerment. In the opposition, it's generally a situation of transformation, okay? So this is not going to be a year in which, in general, the American public are going to feel at peace, comforted necessarily by the things that are going on. There could be periods of aggressive behavior. There could be violent behavior during the year ahead as a possibility. And when I get into Eris down here, I'll show you some other things that would be implied by its aspect to other planets as well. So the moon, okay, does have some positive energy to it. It's trined by Uranus, okay, that would assist in the process of changes. Neptune, okay, in sextiling the moon may help from the standpoint that it either brings in a certain element of creativity or spirituality. Possibly it could be an indication that more people are awakening, okay, or the opportunity is presented by all this stuff going on. Because we're facing a situation now where the fear has gone up a degree. If you'll remember, in a lot of my videos over the years, I've talked about the fact that my biggest concern, which was a karmic concern, was how far is the universe going to go with this fear aspect that is represented by Donald Trump. How far? Well, we know that it's gone beyond the election. All right, now it's to the point where there is a great probability it's going to become a reality unless some unforeseen circumstances come up that are not known right now to prevent that transition. Okay, and I would suspect that there are people behind the scenes that are working on that, but it's difficult to determine how successful they'll be before the election itself. There are things that are going to happen between now and the inauguration. What effect that will be is really anybody's guess. But right here, we're talking about, okay, the year in general. Okay, what is the overall flavor of the year that we're going into in 2025? Okay, you can see here that the sun, Pluto, and the moon, this is the home. This is the private sector here. Okay, fortunately, Saturn here, again, is in sextile to the sun. All right. That can indicate that there is some stability, but the fact here of the Pluto conjuncting the moon and opposing the Mars, again, it's an aggressive, angry, potentially violent type of energy. We are in a situation where the universe has upped the ante. Things have taken a DEFCON 2 step, okay, where the thoughts that maybe the worst could happen, well, the worst is happening. And the question is, what do we do about it? How do we handle this? How do we handle this sense of dread, this sense of fear, this sense of anger that seems to be building and affecting us? And then what do we do about that? Okay, what do we do about that? A lot of people will lash out in fear and anger over this. Okay, lives will probably be lost because of this, unless we are willing to deal with the basic cause of this anger and this hatred, which is really the fear of ourselves. It's the fear of acknowledging that we're afraid. Okay? All right, now, going forward to some other things here. Excuse me. Mercury is also, excuse me, very afflicted in this chart. Neptune squares it, Saturn squares it, Jupiter opposes it. All right? You know, this to me is the Trump factor. You know that Neptune squaring Mercury is just simply lies, deception. Saturn squaring Mercury. All right? Thinking and communication takes a negative turn. All right? Jupiter opposing Mercury. A tendency to promise, you know, things, say one thing, but the reality of what's going on actually comes out, you know, in physical form in regards to events and actions that happen. Communications. Mercury is communications. It's thinking. Okay? So the moon and Mercury are very afflicted. All right? So it's going to be, in a sense, a troubling year for many, unless you have gone far enough in your relationship with your guidance, your higher self, and your meditation to find that spot where you can separate your mental and emotional bodies, okay, from that higher area of the astral plane, of the beyond, of the realm in which your higher self exists, and of which our higher selves are trying to help us to make that jump as well. Okay, so be aware. Uranus here squaring Venus. All right, when I think about this, I think about this again as a situation. There could be issues regarding money, but I think there's also issues here regarding women, women's rights. Okay, Uranus, of course, rules rebellion, revolution. Okay, Venus, and of course, Venus has something to do with the reproductive process and things of that nature, as well as the sexual aspect of our lives. So there's just a tremendous amount, okay, of challenges that are going to be coming our way this year, and we need to understand how to handle them. One of the things that I'm hoping to accomplish over in the other channel is to take you step by step into understanding yourself consciously, to understanding the territory of your consciousness and how you can access that on a higher level so that you can see and learn from your guidance, okay? What are the karmic issues that you are facing in this lifetime? What is it that you need to understand, you know, from what you have experienced? Excuse me for a second here. I've got a beeper going on that doesn't want to shut off. This is kind of the way it's been here lately. The unexpected. So the purpose is that for a number of years, I have seen a lot of teaching that's been put out onto the internet, maybe since the harmonic convergence back in 1987. Very hopeful information, channeled information that talks about what is to come, you know, the new age, this type of thing. But the one thing that I haven't seen a lot of is really basics, the basics of understanding our mind, our imagination, our emotions, our higher self. How do they function? How do they work? Okay? Know thyself, you know, that old, I believe it was a Greek saying about know thyself. It's not just a word. It's a process of understanding consciously the dynamics of who you are and how you function, and what the messages are that you're getting and what they're trying to tell you and how to deal with that. So over on the astrology of karma and evolution, aside from tying this in with astrology at times, I'm going to be explaining to you as best I can the processes, okay, of understanding how the mind, the emotions, the imagination, and your higher self, okay, how they work together to help you to evolve. And my hope is that at the least you'll gain some insight about yourself, that when you go to meditate, it won't be something in terms of I'm doing this because I've been told to do this, what next? I'm going to try to explain to you what to expect. If you're not receiving certain things, why you may be not, okay? And I hope to go into that in detail, and yet in a simple way so that you can understand and apply that to yourself as you begin your own inner work. All right? It's very important. It's really the only thing that we have to be able to counter the escalating issue of fear. Okay? Right now, people's mental and emotional bodies are overloaded with anxiety and fear. And you need to understand there is a way to escape that, and it's worth it. Okay? But I think that in a lot of ways it needs to be explained very simply. Okay? And it's in a step-by-step process, which is what I'm hoping that we'll be able to do. You can see down here, Pluto is opposing Mars, which is what I talked about here earlier. Okay? Neptune is trining Mars. All right? Generally, that aspect is not a bad aspect. Okay? But anytime you're talking about Neptune, all right, you have to be concerned a little bit about, the issue of deception. Also, this aspect here of Pluto opposing, Mars. You can see how absolutely close they are, within 1 degree. And the moon being tied in here. This could also be everything from police activity on a grand scale to actual physical warfare. All right. Now, warfare in the United States, I have no idea. Warfare elsewhere, that's always a possibility. It's going on all the time. Okay, so these aspects here just indicate, okay, that there is a atmosphere of conflict and potential violence, okay, as we move forward. Because if Trump is allowed to actually get into the office and begin to activate these plans that he has, which admittedly a lot of times he talks a big talk, but he doesn't walk it. In other words, he can't. But in this particular election, he has people in there that are not going to tell him no, unless somehow they're divinely guided overnight to say, tell him no. We're going to have a lot of people that are going to dismantle our economic, our political, our governmental structures. All right? And that's not good. Okay? That can create a lot of this angst here that I'm talking about. All right? A lot of fear. And again, as I've said earlier, we need to learn to face and to overcome this fear. You see, mentally and emotionally, we're thinking about there's this guy called Donald Trump. He hasn't got all his ducks in line. He's now president of the United States, and he's a wrecking ball. Okay? What you have to keep in mind, and this is something that you can only discover within your own awareness, is that this is something which the universe is allowing. All right? Because it has a bigger plan in place than just our own political issues. Okay? And that's what's important to grasp. Okay. Saturn here, squaring Jupiter. Okay? A lot of hindrances. Okay? Could be in dealing with foreigners. It could be in dealing with, political areas. It could be in dealing with judicial system. All of these areas can be affected, okay, by this. You can see over here that the house placement of Saturn and Neptune, okay, in the 6th house here, the area of health. We know there's problems coming with people in that area, people who are going to be running it that want to throw everything out with the bathwater, okay? Kennedy Jr. and this other guy, I can't remember his name right now. A lot of confusion. Neptune and Saturn in a house is uncertainty, okay? You're not certain what's going to happen. It could relate to your work, uncertainty about the work, how this is all going to affect your employer and things like that. All right? Uranus is in Taurus up here. Okay? In the house of other people's monies. Unexpected changes in income. Possible benefits. All right? If there is a positive, to a certain degree anyhow, element involved here, because it is a very wide aspect of Mercury down here, Jupiter is in Gemini, and it is in the 9th house. It rules that house. It would have to deal with expansiveness and things ruled by Gemini, communications, writing, documentation, and things of that nature. All of these things are kind of a picture of what we can expect, okay? The energy to feel like through this year. It's very possible, okay, that in some of these areas that I've talked about here, that the severity will not be as intense, okay? But I think, by now, that most people understand and realize that we have gone way beyond the days of returning to the way things were before Donald Trump became president. And I've said this many, many times. It is not all Donald Trump's fault. Okay? There is a very clear and powerful message being sent by the universe to us as individuals to make a choice for what kind of a future we want to be a part of. Okay? And It's going to be extremely interesting. Now, one final note down here. Okay, you remember how I've talked very much this past year about Eris? I believe kind of a dwarf planet. It exists beyond Pluto. It takes about 600 years, I think, to go through the zodiac. It is squaring the moon, okay, along with all this other stuff, strife and conflict. It is squaring Mars, strife and conflict. It is squaring Pluto. All right, so on top of what I've already said about this opposition of Mars and Pluto, you've got Eris throwing its 2 cents worth in. So again, beyond the potential for violence, which is Mars opposition Pluto, we have a situation where Eris, strife and discord, is thrown in. Okay, so it is going to be a tense year, and it's going to be up to us individually to maintain our own peace of mind. Okay, I think that in a lot of ways that it would be best for most of us. Okay, in my case, I have to kind of strike a balance between my meditation, inner healing, and having to watch what I'm having to watch to do videos. To not watch some of this stuff on TV, on Fox, on MSNBC. You know, I think by now you realize that MSNBC, when Joe Scarborough and Mia, his wife, decided to visit Donald Trump, boy, they really took a punch. Morning Joe may not survive this mess, okay, by going down there. And it isn't because maybe they weren't well-meaning to a certain degree, but it's the fact that they come across looking like they're traitors to the democratic process. And now people are leaving MSNBC in droves, you know, by the hundreds of thousands, really. So, and that's unfortunate because they were really one of the strongest media outlets out there that really were talking about the big concerns about what would happen if Donald Trump would be elected. Well, now it's happened. Okay? And you will not make peace with Donald Trump. One of the things that mystifies me, and I understand on one degree the reluctance, you know, I think that biblically and I think that visually by now there is stronger evidence that Donald Trump could be, if not an example of what is termed biblically in the book of Apocalypse as the beast. He is a beast. Okay? He has extraordinary power, whether it's criminal or not, to accomplish things. All right? He is here for a purpose, to do something. And it's because of fear on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, why people are entrenched so deeply into their particular views, okay, about how things should be run. And what I've been saying forever, you know, I love astrology. It's a fine tool, all right, but it is not the answer, okay? The answer has to come from what's inside of us. We have to choose how we're going to live the rest of the days of our lives, okay? Are we going to live in fear and hatred and anger? Are we going to give in and join the MAGA crowd eventually? Or are we going to make a stand for the good in us? Okay? It's very important. It is a test. It is the final exam. And as unfortunate as it may seem, it is for a much higher purpose than what a lot of people on the planet understand or are willing to admit to. Okay. Again, for those of you that have expressed condolences, thank you so much, you know, from my heart, from the heart of my family, for doing that. I don't know how soon I'll be doing another video here. Like I said, generally I do videos because I feel a strong leading to do them, rather than to just do them, okay? Because I want to feel like I'm sharing something with you that's important for you to know, and that has an impact upon you, all right? And over in the other channel, the one that I've been talking about, the astrology of karma and evolution, I want to provide a platform whereby you can learn, grow, and understand about yourself in maybe ways that you have not been able to up to this point. And I can also share some of the pitfalls from my own experience and also some of the revelations that I've also had and how they happened and what was going on. To give you some encouragement and to help you maybe to see what you might want to tweak and what you're doing to try to bring about better results in your meditation. that's the hope over there. And also don't forget, over on Substack, the platform, the CJ and I have 5 actual publications over there. I have the one, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump in America, and then Deep Truths Beyond Logic and Imagination. And then CJ has 2, CJ's World and CJ's Whispers of Knowing. All of this energy that we put into this writing comes from our guidance to be able to help to nourish and to support you along in your growth. So we invite you to come and join us over there, and others, to be able to share your feelings, your experiences, okay, to see whether or not you resonate with what we're going through. Okay, that needs to be something that we do without interfering with your own truth and your own path. That's the tricky part. To advise, but not to influence to the point where we take away the person's right to discover their truth for themselves. It's very important. Okay. Like I said earlier, I think about the one video, got it all laid out, the one over for the other channel, on conscious knowing. All right. But things just have not worked themselves out to where I felt like it was the right time and the right day to do that. And I'm hoping that's going to happen soon. Maybe this is the beginning of it. Okay? All right. From the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, my co-healer, we thank you again for being there, supporting our work, and we trust that we will be able to give more this year than ever before to help you to gain more strength and inner confidence in your relationship with your own awakening process. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great week.